there's lots of content out there that is, kind of mindless and doesn't seem like it has a direction. But if you are speaking to people and if you have people in your content, it's just generally going to perform better.
You're listening to Everybody Loves Naples, an unfiltered and educational podcast about living in Southwest Florida. We're your hosts. My name is Natalie Perez-Benitoa.
And my name is Lance Martinicchio. From the best restaurants and things to do to our local real estate market, we're sitting down with local business owners and community leaders to provide a deeper understanding of what makes Naples, Naples.
Now let's get the show on the road. Welcome back to Everybody Loves Naples, where I have a Beyonce-style fan on the table in front of me. And of course, one of my favorite people as of late, a content creator, just a ball of energy. Welcome to the podcast, Jay Parento.
Hey.
Welcome, Jay. How
Jay
you doing?
created this.
Yeah. Where's the round of applause? What's going on? Come on. Hey, here we go. That's what I'm talking about.
We don't even have to add it in. It's just-
Right.
Yeah, come on. Oh, you guys normally add it in? I knew that. I listened to the pod. Anyway.
We've never added it in.
Oh, I'm glad. I come from the stage, so it's weird when you don't hear it,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like waiting for your cue.
You get it.
I get it. Yeah. Well, I know you a little bit from the gym, and we've done some content together recently, and you're an amazing person. So I was like, let's get him on the show, talk about your experience, not only creating content, but what it's been like for you since moving to Naples area, Southwest Florida.
Yeah, I'm a transplant.
Yeah. But you've been like 5 years in.
Yeah.
short
So
break.
yeah, 5 years is about accurate because I spent about a year heading over to California to pursue filmmaking for a brief 8 months, but that 8 months ended shortly, and I came back to Southwest Florida. Yeah, I was living on a ranch actually with some good friends of mine, and they do what's called livestock coordination in film. So basically, horses, cows, stuff like that. If they need to be on set, somebody's got to, wrangle those horses and cows, and they were the people that did that, as well as stunts and other things. So I went to the ranch, helped them with a photo shoot throughout the summer. It was a large budget photo shoot for a professional photographer out there by the name of David Black. And we did that over the course of, a few months. And when the fall came back around, I said, I think I miss Southwest Florida. And I came back.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have businesses. Well, you're essentially the creator and creative genius behind several businesses in town.
Yeah,
One of which you're wearing this shirt today. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I would love to plug. This is Distinctive Window Tinting. They have been, I wouldn't say my longest standing client, but originally, so Natalie and I know each other from Ionic Fitness, and that's kind of what started my journey down here. Another plug, two plugs.
Plugs here.
Yeah. So at Ionic, we I started there as just a videographer doing their social media. And I knew the owner, Donnie, and he was like, "You should really do this as a business, man.
You should work out instead."
No, you should stop doing video and actually work out." So I was doing it there, and then Distinctive reached out to him and was like, "Hey, who does your videos? Who, whatever, how that happens." And I ended up started working with them. That was over 2 years ago now. Well, this is probably our third year working together. And so I do all their social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, all that. So it's been good.
So you do, okay, you represent them, Ionic. You're also, I guess, a photographer is where you really started. Am I right?
Yeah. So I mentioned I went to school in Minnesota originally and was studying filmmaking. And because I was researching all this stuff on YouTube for filmmaking, naturally photography was a thing that kind of came up and was like, it's the kind of the first step actually, because you're really learning a lot of photography concepts when you are learning videography or filmmaking. And so I kind of bought a camera after that. I bought it using money that I had saved from donating plasma. And
wow.
I was, it came right out of my arm. And I bought a Canon, so I called it the plasma Canon naturally. And so, ever since then I started doing photography for just, different modeling things here and there. I did a senior portrait shoot right before I moved to Florida. And that was my only paid gig at the time.
So actually, I know you said you're a transplant, and you went to college in Minnesota? So is that where you're
Correct.
originally from, Minnesota?
Originally born and raised in northern Minnesota, and it is a cold, desolate place.
They like, say
It is as cold as they say. Actually, so where I went to school was Fargo, North Dakota, which is where Carson Wentz, the late.
Well, I'm from Philadelphia.
Okay, so you know Carson Wentz. Yeah, of course. Duh.
Yeah.
So Carson Wentz, he went to NDSU, and that's where it was a sister school of where I went to school. And I remember I was working at TJ Maxx at the time, and it was a negative 80 wind chill. And I was at work. So it was negative 40 actually. Oh, sorry. And negative 40 actually. And it was a negative 80 wind chill. And so that
How are you still alive?
Yeah, that's what we'd call a state of emergency. And you get like the alerts and all that stuff. And it was the first time where they had actually said, okay, we have to close the store midday. And, TJ Maxx won't close for a lot of things, but I guess a negative 80 wind chill will do it.
And then you decide, hell, I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, I actually stayed for a few more months. Until,
But your parents have been coming down for years.
Yeah. So originally, I came down probably when I was 5 years old down in Naples, and I don't really remember the landscape being different, although I'm sure it was much different down here. But that was my initial first impressions to Naples, was coming down as a kid throughout the years. And my last one was 2016, and I'll say this, when I was, or maybe 2015, it was for a wedding, my parents' friends down here. And when I was here for a week, I noticed that I had really adjusted to the climate. It was August, and so it was real sticky. And so by the end of that week, I got home and fall set in northern Minnesota, and I was never the same. I had fully adjusted to Southwest Florida and never adjusted back. Yeah.
You're like 50 degrees. I need my parka.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I never adjusted back. So.
Well, we're so happy you're here. Honestly. If you guys don't follow Jay on Instagram, you need to. Every photo I see that you've taken at an event or anything, you capture in a way that makes me feel like I'm there. He was hired for a photo shoot we did at Compass for a little holiday thing. Shout out, plug to Joanna Levin, who hired him. And that's the first time I met you. Those pictures came out beautiful. I was like, wow, he makes me look so good. And
it was easy.
And then I joined Ionic and saw you again there. And then recently we've created some content together, and I've got to say, you understood my vision right away. The first time, put a really nice spin on first-time home buyers and the experience of that. So the way that you storytell through your content, I think, is some of the best in town.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, for me watching it too. And then the video got picked up by a bigger brand that. Basically, the broke agent, they follow all, real estate stuff, and they picked it up and shared it on their page.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know Natalie sent me the post initially, and I was like, what is that?
I was like, well, no,
sorry, guys.
It's a big deal. We love these guys. And yeah, but I mean, they're all about real estate marketing, and the power of social media, I know, is something that we are clearly utilizing in our businesses. But I know that's something that you really talk about on your personal social media accounts. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, so naturally, as a social media manager for multiple accounts, people come to me with questions frequently. And so when I'm addressing all these comments or these DMs that I'm getting, I go, why don't I just post a story of that? So I find myself, on a daily basis addressing these concerns that people have, or I hear people talk, social media is so top of mind for all of us. It doesn't matter if you're in the game, if you're not.
Yeah.
People are talking about it. And so, whether like Natalie, for example, Natalie wasn't super big on the TikTok. You guys are doing it now from what I see, but TikTok. Yeah, this is going to be on it, I hope. So, I mean, you look at people like Gary Vee, and we're all kind of saying the same thing, right? Gary Vee is just doing it on a heightened level, so, you can get inspiration from him for sure and good ideas. He's obviously very aggressive. He has the resources at this point. But, at the end of the day, what you touched on, story is so important. I think that gets lost a lot of time, especially in the real estate market where you're not necessarily selling the story behind the home. You're just selling it's close to this, and it's got X amount of bedrooms, and here's what the primary looks like. We're calling it a primary now, So
it's the whole marketing's gone to storytelling more than just,
correct, and that's the way it should be. I read a book once, and I'm gonna botch the name of it, but it was basically the story of the sell, and the guy was explaining to the audience that, hey, I can sell whatever if I tell a story, whether that be a home, whether it be a concept, whether that be a relationship that I might potentially have. You look at movies, specifically entrepreneurial movies, and I'm sure Ryan can attest to this, but they always talk about, like those Jordan Belforts of the world, that they are, you sound like a salesman if you're telling a story, but that's how a salesman closes a deal, right? Like
Right.
that's the point of it all. So
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes people feel like they belong in your story if they want a seat at the table. And I think that's the opportunity that content right now in our culture is so prevalent. And I, like Lance said before we started recording, like it's not going anywhere.
No.
And the content and the people that service and produce the content, I think it's a very underserved area in Southwest Florida. I can think of a few, and I can think of even fewer who do it very well. So do you find like a lot of competition when it comes to your content creating, as far as like the other people out there trying to get those bigger clients and trying to push local brands?
it's interesting. I feel like this area down here is like, you guys talk about small town energy, but it is, there's a lot of us in this small town. If you look at the numbers, and especially when season hits, we get big numbers. But like, I don't find that, especially in the creative realm, there's a lot of butting heads, because there is so much people wanting to be in the game that all of us can eat. At least at this point, we can all eat.
Yeah.
Because like you said, everybody is trying to get on this social media thing. Now, necessarily, are a lot of them doing it well? Are they doing it by themselves? Do they have the resources to hire somebody? Maybe not, but everybody wants to be in on the game, and which is why I'm fielding so many DMs all the time.
Basically, it's like free marketing for anyone and their product.
Absolutely.
You just set up an Instagram page, Facebook, TikTok, and
Right.
but there's professionally done, and there's just do it on your own type thing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I got kind of a question about the filming and the photography. I guess in this area, I would imagine there's a lot of nice scenery that you have and backdrop to use with your clients down here, just because of our area. Is that?
Yeah, you'd be correct in that statement. I mean, especially, if you think about it, because we got the beaches, we got the beautiful greenery and all that stuff. Like Naples, we all know, is one of the most well manicured cities probably in America.
Yes.
There's a reason why so many people want to be here, why there's, very little trash out there on the streets. Like, this is a clean place.
Yeah.
And so even from that aspect, like, it's funny, I say that, like, that the clean, proper thing, but if you ask a lot of creators, they'll tell you there's a lot of beauty in the disheveled places too.
Sure.
Like those places that you look at, like a city like maybe Detroit, and don't want to talk bad about Detroit, but there's a lot of abandoned buildings in Detroit, and they become extremely popular on social media because they look desolate. They look like zombie land. It's artsy. Yeah.
It's artsy. It's a cool shot.
Correct. Yeah. And so, but to speak on that, yes, outside of the natural elements that we have here, you also have beautiful homes, which you guys both have on market at the moment. Like there's a ton of beautiful architecture here as well. And so it's not difficult to find a pretty space to film in.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And they got the different areas too, like Bayfront.
Mhm.
What else down there?
I mean,
Fifth
Fifth
Avenue,
Avenue.
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tin City.
I've been meaning to put together a blog post or a PDF for people to come down and experience all that, because I want to minimize my travel as much as possible during season and even without season. And so I live in Bonita, and being in Bonita, I'm just looking for all the best local spots there is there too. And there's a ton.
I was gonna say it's Natalie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Natalie's big Bonita guy.
Okay.
Huge Bonita. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, there's a ton of places just within, a few miles that there is to go, whether it be a park, the city park.
Right.
But, we're obviously very close to the beach, and a lot of people love the beach. So there's that too.
Yeah. So from engagement photography to graduation photos, working with Ionic Fitness and distinctive window tinting company, you have a plethora of jobs kind of all over Southwest Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find any specific medium, whether it be video or photography or making the content itself, do you have a specific enjoyment or favoritism over any specific art medium?
I would say so. My first love out of all this was definitely filmmaking, and so the idea of a long form video is daunting when you're the editor and the filmmaker and the pre-production person and all those things. But at the end of the day, I'm always trying to get back to that, and so storytelling and photography are just different mediums to try to scratch that itch. But for the most part, long form media is ideal. But we live in a clips world, and so shorts and reels and TikToks are what we do.
It's just the attention span of America.
Correct. And I was just speaking to Natalie about this. There's a guy on TikTok, I'll plug him too. His name's Sam. Don't know his last name, but Sam puts out these scenes and they're, they could be 90 seconds or less. A lot of times they're 60 seconds and they feel like just clips from a movie that he has written. And you don't get the whole context of the situation, but by the end of that 60 seconds, you feel what he's trying to get across. And I think there's a lot of value in having a society where we can tell stories that quickly and get people to feel that quickly.
Right.
So, but to answer your question, I would say that the longest form medium is my favorite.
Okay.
Specific subject matter, not necessarily. I don't have anything that sticks out in particular, but
Yeah.
So what other types of brands do you, I guess would utilize your service?
Yeah.
Like, obviously the window, any type of business or
Any type of business could.
individual entrepreneurs, just anything.
Yeah, I'm about, I would say, well, like this is my 3rd year in business and kind of 5th year doing it, as, just picking up the camera in 2019. So I would say I'm still trying to figure out, like to answer your question again, like what actual niche is my favorite, because I've been working with Distinctive for a few years. I'm not a super huge car guy, but I will get in there and I'll ogle the Ferraris and the Rolls Royces that come in. And fitness has been great. I've actually had the opportunity to work with a few CrossFit Games athletes, which I know you've done CrossFit before. I don't know if you're big on the games, but
Yeah, I was when I was doing it.
yeah. So there's a few athletes that were in town here that I got to work with, and that was really exciting. So I will say, like, if I lean towards anything at the moment, it's definitely fitness.
Yeah.
But I don't have anywhere that I want to stay. Like I like being able to touch different markets. The one that I haven't really done a ton of, and where I come out of, is restaurants, the restaurant industry. And I would
There's a
love to
couple
work
in
with some-
town.
Yeah, just a few. Just a few. And like you said, like I'm busy at this moment, which I love. There's always room for more work,
Yeah.
and so I'm still looking for a potential next client. Natalie has been that new person on the docket lately. We're putting some content out there, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
But a restaurant would be awesome, because I think there's a lot of ideas and a lot of content out there that I'm inspired by that I would love to help somebody create here.
Yeah. I feel like Lance touched on it a second ago, having social media, yes, it's a free marketing space, but I think what gets lost often is the quality behind it. It is not easy to produce great social media content.
Yeah.
And very, very rarely is it just one person behind the machine. When I came across your stuff and then got to know you a little bit better outside of the podcast episode today, I was like, wait a minute, he really has all of these things, and your turnover was so fast and your communication. I really appreciated that so much, because it's often overlooked. Yeah, we get to produce these videos and everybody, listening and watching sees the end product, but there's so much that goes into it, and it's a skill that oftentimes is self-taught, but it's less often executed the way that you execute.
The most
And I need
crucial
to.
part.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the more that Naples is growing and our small little community is growing, the more that this type of work is in demand, in my opinion.
Definitely super in demand. And
Yeah.
I encourage everybody to do it. It's not like, you talk about the competitive aspect of it. I'm like, go for it. Like, even my clients, they have competitors that have now jumped on board and hired somebody to produce content for them. They see the value in it. And so, and it is kind of a monkey see, monkey do type thing. And I explained that to Natalie when she came up with a very cool idea for her content, that I'm like, hey man, people are going to copy this, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, they're going to see they posted it second. One, but two, they won't do it as good as you, because you have the mindset. You have me.
Jay created that.
Yeah. I'll actually touch about that too. That was a conversation I had with Donnie, the owner of the gym. And I think I was kind of in the stages of, I think I'm going to do this as a business, and I'm not exactly sure, how it's going to look yet, but I feel like I should kind of separate it from my personal. And as it goes, at first I was like, well, should I get a second Instagram? I'm kind of inundating everybody with my photo stuff. It's not really me, it's
Right.
my client stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of my followers came from back home. So I was also seeing a drop in engagement. There was people from Minnesota that are like, don't care about that. I care about if you're winning or failing in Florida, So so like I created the second account and I go, well, Donnie, what should I call it? He threw out a couple names here and there. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, this is going to be tagged by somebody. Well, what should it say when somebody tags me? I want somebody to tag me so I get credit for the work that I did.
Absolutely.
Oh, Jay created this, like who took this photo? Jay did, So
Yeah, and it encompasses all the things, like the video, the photo, like Jay created this. So we did the drawing for Thrive IV Bar for the free day pass, and you're the name that came up. Promise it was not a fixed raffle, everyone.
No, I know.
But when I picked it out, I told Lance, I was like, oh, it's Jay created this. And it flows. But
I was so confused. He created what?
all the things.
like, that's who won. Jay created this. It was one of those like, dude, where's my car moment.
Yeah,
Like,
really
yeah, what did I say?
Right.
Did you use it? Did you go to?
I haven't used it yet. I need to schedule some time. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, I never used their giveaway. I probably should get over there.
Well, before this episode is released,
Yeah.
you will have.
What's
gone.
our turnaround time? How much time do I got?
Well, there's no expiration date.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. There's
I mean, what time is this going to drop? Do we know?
maybe like 2 weeks or more.
Month.
Yeah, a month.
I've got time.
Yeah, we've got time.
We'll get over there.
Yes.
Great app, by the way.
You can document it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that was definitely my plan. I'm like, well, I win. Now I have to help them
yeah.
out with some content. That's part of the deal there, I think. It was totally fixed, guys. Don't let them
Yeah.
fool you.
So go ahead, Lance.
I was going to ask, so where do you see the content creation going, right? Everything kind of follows a pattern. Everyone kind of typically stays kind of within the same. So do you see what's next coming down the line for content creators and businesses that will use it?
Oh, Lance, I think that's the beauty of it all is that,
$1 million
is that we don't know, right?
It's like the market. What the
Right. What's going to happen? We're all flipping coins and trying to figure it out. But
Are we going to go away from storytelling and just pictures? No.
oh man, wouldn't that be something? So actually, I was going to touch on this. I heard a concept, and I don't know if it was his original idea, but there's a comedian named Chris DiStefano, New York guy.
Yeah, I heard
and
that.
and Chrissy D has a podcast called the Chrissy D Chaos Podcast, and he touched on this idea that what if everybody had only one post per day?
That'd be great.
What would that be like?
Intentional.
I think you'd be a little bit more intentional with your content. You wouldn't just be throwing stuff at the wall hoping it sticks. And
That's a
there's
good idea for a new social media company.
something that was the idea. Yeah. Like what if we had a platform where it was just that? And a part of me goes, that sucks because then you're limiting people, but then it also rocks because, you don't get the dumb tweets and Facebook status updates that nobody cares about, or the home tours that nobody cares about.
And the production, like the quality would have to
Right.
be there for it to get that engagement that everybody's looking for.
Yeah. And so I think we're going to continue on the short form video. You look at TikTok leading the way on the short form video and Reels becoming a very popular thing with Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, they just took what TikTok was doing and put it to their platform.
Yep, exactly. And YouTube did the same thing. I think they were third in line, their shorts. And then Snapchat was like, ooh, well, we're already kind of doing it with our own stories. Let's make them public. And I don't know if you guys were aware of that whole movement, but Snapchat initially was paying out big money for their content, like direct to their creators. And there was kids making millions of dollars
Really?
posting. Yeah.
Not my kid.
What was that? What were they doing? Oh, gosh, man.
Last time I used Snapchat, it was a long time ago. I don't use it. Do you use it?
I do use, so actually I just had my client's Distinctive went to a conference for film laying in Orlando. And they came back and they said, did you know that, these other companies are making money with Snapchat? I go, I kind of thought that was over. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that whole making money on Snapchat was kind of dead.
Right.
But nope, it's very similar to the other platforms where they'll pay you, based on your view count. But I think it's a little bit more competitive rate. I wouldn't be able to tell you what, but there's people out there making money on Snapchat like they would on a YouTube or a
That's
TikTok.
crazy.
Yeah, and so we're on it now as a company. We're on it, which it seems a little strange, like we're a window tinting company in Florida, but we're on it. We're posting it's the same content.
Are you
A little bit, you know, nothing's really popped yet. But we're seeing engagement, and it's much similar to, you know, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You know, you're getting these random viewers from wherever, God knows where. But I've had people in the past be like, "Oh yeah, I saw that," but you know, like random people. I'll be like, "I saw that thing." So
Yeah,
from down here,
and that's the point, right? With all this
I
advertising,
guess all these kids are going to be driving soon, so they'll want to get their cars tinted.
there you go. Hey,
that's true.
yeah, you know, it's not always a shot in the dark, right? You're also doing your hashtags and stuff is coming, you
Yeah.
know, locally, and that's what I mean. Like we had my first video that went viral for Distinctive, and that's the thing with with viral content is that it's very hard. I mean, there's a you know, format to it. Mr. Beast and everybody like that can tell you there's a reason why stuff does really well. But you know, some of this local stuff, it's like I couldn't have guessed, especially if you don't necessarily know the niche that you're working in. You might not guess that video would do super well. But I had a video where it was a guy talking about why he doesn't tuck the film underneath the tire as paint protection film, and essentially he cuts it off short. And so many people came to the comment section, experts in their field, keyboard warriors as they're called, and just lit them up on Facebook. The video got hundreds of thousands of likes and I think 6 million views on Facebook Reels. That was the first one that ever popped, and there's no way I could have told you that would have done that well, you know. So, but yeah, short form video is still cooking,
still king,
right? What would you say is something that we should be focusing on when it comes to the content? Like, where do you see it being extremely valuable in today's world?
I would say that the like most important thing above all, and this is something that I tell clients every time when I have, you know, those initial discovery calls as well, is that we're all human. You're not sending this video to Mars, although it might feel like it, although it might feel like, you know, the powers that be are such otherworldly things. This video is going to be seen by a human. So talk to him like a human, you know, and tell human stories, right? Like, there's lots of content out there that is, you know, kind of mindless and doesn't seem like it has a direction. But if you are speaking to people and if you have people in your content, it's just generally going to perform better. There's statistics out there. Again, I don't know the numbers. This is why I didn't want to bring up politics either. But yeah. 5%.
No one's listening.
There's numbers out there that also cite that, you know, your content will do better if a face is in it. And that's one thing that I struggle with when people hire a social media marketing company based out of state that only puts out graphics that they found on Google, is that they're just graphics that are found on Google. There's no human aspect to them whatsoever. And now with the rise of ChatGPT, AI, like we have to have faces. We have to have people involved rather than just a graphic or an empty open house.
Yeah, just even normal people video, like if you put yourself in the video, it gets way more engagement than just posting something random.
If you didn't catch it already in this episode, to find Jay, it's very easy. Search Jay Created This, at Jay Created This. Is that on all platforms? That's how we find you?
No, which is a no-no in the social media space. There's lots of things. So as I say, not as I do, right? Like there is a lot to say for consistency of profile pictures and usernames. Currently, I don't separate content on TikTok from business and personal. Like my business and personal are one on TikTok. Same with Snapchat. But Facebook and Instagram, they are. And you guys don't need to find my personal. There's nothing on there.
You created this. You give wonderful tips on your stories on different ways to engage on social. Different.
So he's not just producing the content.
No,
it actually explains.
It's extremely helpful.
Correct. And stories are a great way to do that. And that's what, you know, a lot of those Gary V's of the world will tell you, is that if you are not posting stories, that's the day-to-day stuff. That's where they need to see your face and get the value out of it. And if anybody is not following Adam Mosseri, do you know who Adam Mosseri is?
Don't think so.
A lot of guys on this show today.
Guys, come on, Lance. Adam Mosseri is the CEO, I want to say, is his title, of Instagram. So he's the guy that is going to tell you what to do. And basically, that's what he does. He'll upload a reel or he'll go live and he'll discuss all the things that are changing on Snapchat, how to get the best engagement, who's going to get the best engagement, the value of stories, things like that. And so
this is for reaching a broader audience other than the people that follow you.
correct. Yeah. And that's another good way. Stories are a great way to tell if there's other people really checking you out too.
Yeah.
You're following, you could see who's the most loyal. And I think if you start to look at your story view count, you'll understand, okay, these are my besties. These are the people that are really paying attention, or these are my frenemies who are watching because they're praying on my downfall. But you'll start to see some new faces in there too. And that's when you get those people that are going, oh, I'm starting to see some new faces. Well, they're looking at their story and they're going, there's X amount of people in here that are new. I need to start addressing,
Right.
talking to these people as well.
Right.
So it's a great way to find out who your audience is.
Good.
Well, Jay, you're just the best. And I think Southwest Florida is lucky to have you. Truly, I do. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds for your career, how much amazing content you're going to produce. Mark my words, everybody loves Naples. Jay created this, is one to look out for.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jay. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Ditto.
And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.